This is the Santa Cruz Hightower 27.5 Plus. Let's get at it. And today, I am riding the Santa Cruz Hightower CC. This is the Xo1 build. Super psyched. Although I was pretty worried about it actually, because they only come in a medium, and I am a shorty. So yes, the smallest size in this bike is a medium. It has bigger wheels, and because of the unfortunate fact that I'm only 5'6", 5'7", but honestly it fit just fine. This thing's got 150 millimeters up front and 135 millimeters of VPP suspension in the back. It's got a pike fork and a RockShox Monarch RT3 shock in the back. It sports 2.8 Recon tires front and back. At first, these things look massive if you're not used to it. This is actually my first ride on a plus bike. Lastly, this thing's got the new Sram Xo1 Eagle. That's 1x12. The largest sprocket being a 50 tooth. That is huge. I could totally see why the Xo1 Eagle is something that people would want. I mean, if you don't have these long climbs, you should be fine, and it really depends on, you know, where you're riding. But totally legit, I get it. Whew, catching my breath. So, for those of you guys naysayers, yeah, 1x11 is great, but if your bike comes with a 1x12, why the hell would you not do it? So, but as far as like upgrading, it really all depends on what kind of riding you do, right? Hightower climbs, what you would expect a plus full suspension bike, climbs the technical pretty well, better than my 5010 non-plus 27.5. So at first, this bike felt long. It definitely felt bigger than my 5010. Despite this thing being big feeling, it actually has a claimed weight of under 29 pounds, at least this spec is. So this is the Black Mountain Trail. I figured that to test a new bike, why not test it on the upper part of Black Mountain, right? So yeah, I'll leave a link below on how badass this trail is. Right away, I felt the feeling of being much more planted. The gnar that this trail offers was immediately kind of felt dialed down. It left me feeling much more confident than the last time I rode this trail. If this bike was a superhero or supervillain, it would definitely be the Juggernaut. Even the dark red color of this bike even matches him. It just feels like just plow through shit. Just the gnar. I mean, it's awesome. Now, I keep on saying that this bike felt long. It's certainly because it's relative to my trail bike, the 5010. You know, that long feeling certainly has advantages though, right? In the chunk and in the gnar of this trail, it certainly helps with the overall stability of the bike, which even adds on to the planted feeling of the plus tires. I mean, it's just amazing. I love this bike. I wanted to give a shout out to the hub at Pisgah. It's a really great bike shop. They have a lot of stuff in there to look at, but most importantly, they have a fleet of amazing bikes. This being one of them. So if you want to try a Hightower, check them out at thehubpisgah.com. That said, the grip of the 2.8 Maxxis Recon tires will only get you so far.
Well, there's my bike right there. Slipped on the leaves. Fell off the trail.
You can't do much when you're dealing with leaf-covered trails and off-camber routes. The big tires almost felt like more buoyant than a normal tire on that combination of terrain. I hope that makes sense. Actually, Pisgah, North Carolina, that area is actually going through some drought, so I hope it rains soon so that there's a lot less risk of forest fires.
Woo! That was good.
This is Pisgah's Bennet's Gap. It's a trail that's only open from October 15th to April 15th. It is another amazing trail here at Pisgah, and it's another trail that I decided to test the Hightower on. Similar to Black Mountain Upper, I would consider this definitely an upper intermediate to advanced trail just because of the chunk and the gnar and the speed. The Hightower, as you would expect, performed really, really well. I had a grin the entire time. I love this bike. I feel like it's almost like cheating through this type of terrain. So there's only one thing that I did notice on this bike when compared to my smaller Santa Cruz 5010 that was worth noting. Because the bike is longer feeling and bigger feeling because of the plus tires, there is an element of it that is not as playful feeling and it's not as agile feeling. Even when the little drops that you deal with when you're kind of making sure that you're landing right, the bike needs a little bit more body English to kind of make sure that you're moving it right. Yeah, I just hope that makes sense. It's certainly not as agile. It's just a bigger bike. It's just something to note. With all the chunk in the gnar of Pisgah that day, I have to say I love this bike. I really was thinking of like buying this bike right away. It was that great of a bike. It was a really fun bike. I hope you guys like this video. Certainly subscribe, share on YouTube, and check out my Instagram page. And I actually just launched a Facebook page. I think there's only like 1 or 2 people that have liked it so far. I'll leave a link similar to what I usually do on Instagram on the description below. Thanks so much, guys.